Let me give it to you straight. I was not a fan of the original Yellow Fall delay. The original Donner Yellow Fall can be found for like, I want to say it's like 30 bucks on Amazon right now. Anyway, it was Donner's first pedal released in 2013. Over 10 years later, they've revisited it with the Yellow Fall 2, a dual delay and reverb that's priced, well, like a Donner pedal. So will I like the redo? Let's find out. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily and it's great to see your lovely face today. Donner sent me their Yellow Fall 2, which is now a part of their Versa series, I guess, in exchange for this video. Of course, thoughts and opinions are all mine. By the way, if you're watching this between November 21st and December 2nd, 2024, I'm told you'll be able to reap some savings through their Black Friday sale. And regardless of whether you're watching this now or later, you can use the code OFFSET to save. When I put it in, it saved you $16. That's some small percentage off, but as of filming, it takes the price down to 117 bucks, which is a pretty good deal for a delay and reverb combined in one, as long as it sounds good. Links in video description. The Yellow Fall has stereo inputs and outputs, which is pretty nice. We have 3 modes for delay, Echo, Digital, Vintage, and 3 modes for reverb, Hall, Room, Plate. Those are controlled via their corresponding toggles. Each effect has a dedicated foot switch and LED. The middle toggle here can store 2 presets. That's 1 and 2, so that's middle and right. Or you can send it back to the left for N, which I think most people might call that a manual mode. Donner calls it normal. The knobs on the left and middle all correspond to the delay. So we have delay level, tone, time, and repeats. The knobs on the right are reverb level and reverb decay. Those are our pretty minimal reverb controls, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that the tone also affects the reverb, even though it doesn't say so in the manual. Speaking of the manual, it does say that you can control the pre-delay on the reverb. I haven't found that setting anywhere, so I don't know about that one. The /ST button here is twofold. When you're in position 1, which is in the middle, you hold it down for a few seconds to save a preset, same for position 2. Or it can be a tap tempo for your delay. Apparently the foot switch on the left can also be configured to have tap tempo. The one time I entered that mode, it was by accident and I don't know how to replicate it. I'm sorry, just being honest. Anyway, let's hear the pedal. I'm using the Benson Chimera plugin from Mixwave and my parts caster here. The pickups on this are the Seymour Duncan Joe Bonamassa 1950 Broadcaster pickups from their custom shop, by the way. In fact, I'll have a link in the video description, maybe in the corner there as well, where I build this guitar because I, of course, made a video about it. Here's my clean signal. And here is the delay on echo mode. I've got level cranked, which is not 100% wet, I'm sorry, and tone and repeats in the middle. You can see the time flashing with the bypass LED. Not a ton of repeats on the middle on that first setting. Let's turn that up. Honestly, I already like this a lot more than the original Yellow Fall. I found that to be overly bright, and the tone knob really makes a difference here. And generally, I think the algorithm for the delay must be a lot better. I also like the decay on that echo, how the fidelity drops in what I think is a really, really satisfying way. Yeah, I like it. All right, let's see if it can self-oscillate. Nope. It doesn't even hold indefinitely. That's kind of a bummer. But let's go ahead and move to the digital delay. Put those two back in the middle. Okay, that's not my favorite, but it's fine. It's definitely a lot cleaner, but that's by and large not what I look for in a delay. Let's see about that self-oscillation. So that does do the infinite hold, which is cool. I still find it a little bright for my personal taste, but I can see somebody using that. There's something kind of lo-fi when it keeps going like that, especially when you crank the brightness. It's like a little bit of a high pass filter. Lastly, we have a vintage delay. Once again, get those back to the middle. That's honestly pretty nice. It's warm even with the tone cranked, but does it oscillate? So no, it doesn't really self-oscillate, but it is kind of nice, that feedback limit, where you can tell it's going to end eventually. I'd still rather it self-oscillate, but that's just me. Speaking of going all the way, let's see how fast the repeats can get. Okay. Is it the same on all of them? So it can go from full double tracking sounds to long-ish. The description says 40 to 2500 milliseconds. So that's a decent range, I think. I feel like it's going to be enough for most people. I will save my full notes for the end, but my verdict on the delay in brief is that it's vastly improved. It's definitely ideal for a beginner or someone who doesn't ask a lot of their delay. If you're enjoying this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you feel so inclined, you can leave a tip via the Say Thanks button below. There's also a link to Patreon in the video description, which grants you access to our exclusive Discord server at the $5 level and above. There are also affiliate links in the video description, namely Amazon. When you use our affiliate links, I get a small portion of the sale shared with me, so it's a great way to support this channel doing things that, let's be honest with ourselves and each other, we were probably going to do anyway. And by the way, you don't have to buy this product at all via those links, especially the Amazon one. You can buy anything with that link and it'll help out the channel. So huge thanks to everyone who uses those. On to the reverb side. We're starting with Hall, level all the way up, decay in the middle. Obviously, the tone knob, despite what the quick start guide says, affects both the reverb and the delay. I don't love that. I'd rather you be able to control both separately, either with dedicated knobs or a secondary setting, but again, it's like $117. Is it picky to want that on a pedal that's barely more than $100? Let me know in the comments. Decay, it gets pretty long as well, but not uber long. And all the way down. All right, I think that's, Hall probably shouldn't be like extremely long or infinite or anything, and neither should Room, so I'm gonna imagine it's roughly the same. Here is what Room sounds like. Hall gets longer, not a surprise there, and it's brighter by its nature. I think I prefer Room. So, what do you think? Moving on to Plate. Honestly, I find these reverbs a little samey. You know what I mean? The big differences are with how long the decay get, as well as a few EQ differences in the middle section. And honestly, I don't think that Plate really sounds like a Plate. Instead of Hall, Room, Plate, I really wish they'd done either Hall or Room, probably Room, and a spring if they could get that working. And if they can get Plate sounding more like a Plate, or maybe something a little bit more out there and unusual, that's what I would have preferred. These are three very common reverb algorithms, and I know that spring is difficult to get right, but I'd still personally would rather see One reverb that evokes a sense of space in kind of a literal sense, hall, room, cathedral, that kind of thing. One that sounds like an amp, so spring, and then one that sounds like something you would only get in a studio, like plate, or like something that maybe would be rack mounted. Just, I'm a little disappointed in the reverb selections and sounds, frankly. Anyway, let's hear both sides together. Let's do something kind of dreamy, maybe a darker reverb on that side. Turn those repeats up. Maybe let's do feedback in the middle, actually. And let's do vintage. Now I have something a little bit more country, a little bit less intense. I sped up the rate, I dropped the feedback, dropped the mix on both sides, and lowered the decay on the reverb. Sounds nice. But it's time for me to be honest about this pedal. I'll start with what I do like. One, the price. It is $125 on Amazon right now, and you can apply a $20 coupon, maybe even more since it's Black Friday, but please use my affiliate link if you want to buy it on Amazon, by the way. There are things to complain about, and I'll get there, but if you want something that's no frills, has some presets, and sounds pretty good, I'd recommend this pedal. Let's get to the downsides. Like I had already mentioned, I'd like to see more range on all the knobs, save maybe the tone knob. I think the time will be sufficient for most people for sure. Some people may want more, that's not a big deal, but for repeats, I prefer a pedal, especially one with an analog voicing, to get into self-oscillation on some of those modes. The decay is similar, I just like to be able to adjust it more. For the level on both sides, it seems to get 50% wet. That's, again, fine for most, but I like more range, and I feel like a lot of people expect reverb and delay pedals to get full wet these days, even at this price range. I think the voices on the delay side are better curated than the reverb. The delays all sound different enough, but I don't feel the same way about the reverb side, and I know reverb algorithms are hard to get right, and these get close. I just feel like they could be better. All that being said, literally none of those downsides are extremely substantial, especially in this price range. They will be deal breakers for some, which is why I bring them up, but for the normal player looking for a dual reverb and delay in this price range, I think it's a solid pick. All this is weird to say considering how much I disliked the V1, but Donner did a good job with this pedal. If you liked this video, please check out the video on the screen where I demo the Donner Third Man collaboration, the Triple Threat. And if you want to save on that one, again, you can use the code OFFSET in the Donner store, link in video description, and affiliate link for Amazon in the video description as well. Thanks for watching, thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.